Today on MH News, we're marketing music.
Intro's up. Ready, camera one in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to MH News VLAMP, Video, Lighting, Audio, Music, and Photography, everyone. I am your host, Matt Haslam. Welcome to Season 3 of the show here. This is Part 5 in our 11-part series on marketing music. So if you haven't seen the previous episodes in this series yet, please go back and watch those first, before continuing, as we're going to build on info from the previous episodes as we continue. Step 5. Add merchandise. One of the most profitable things a musician can do is sell merchandise, which typically results in about 50 to 60% net profits. Unfortunately, unless you know for sure you're going to sell lots of it, you can't buy in bulk to make those high profits. In order to best explain this, we're going to go item by item. Clothing. Selling clothing with your name, maybe a photo or your logo on it, is a great way to make money and have your fans out there advertising you wherever they go. Unfortunately, clothing is an expensive place to be in due to there being many different sizes, color options, and returns. If you have a very, very large fan base, you can go to a local print shop or one online and buy 100 or even 1,000 t-shirts in all sizes to get great bulk discounts. These print shops can usually help you decide how many of what sizes to get, as well as help you with graphic design when you present them with your demographic information, which we established in Step 1. If you don't have a very, very large fan base, though, you're going to need to go a different route. Many smaller brands and musicians prefer to use places like cafepress.com, since you can create a store, add your logo, and choose what products you want that logo put on, including all sorts of clothing, pillows, dog t-shirts, and plenty more. All you have to do is add a link to your website forwarding your customers to this merchandise page, where users can look through all your products, choose their sizes, and buy online. This way, you're not stuck with lots of sizes you don't need, and products are made one by one, so there's no inventory involved. For this, you may only make $1 or $2 per item sold, but when you're just starting out, that loss in net margins is worth it compared to the risk involved in spending thousands on inventory you can't move. CDs. Many musicians decide to do a CD to promote their music and sell a product for $5 or $10 to their fans. Most companies nowadays have these 3 levels of products. One for higher-end customers, one priced in the middle range, and another in the lower range. So for your customers who can't afford a t-shirt, which is a higher range product, or a poster, which is a middle range product, a CD offers them a lower priced item they can purchase and still show their support for you and your music. This said, you have to weigh the cost to see if it's worth it for you. When you're just starting up, or you don't have that many fans yet, you simply cannot manufacture 100 or 250 plus copies of your CD, so you can resell them for high profits in the 50 to 60% net margin range. What I always suggest is to go the digital route, as that's where our world is heading anyway, and pretty soon CDs will be pretty much extinct. So, in order to sell a CD, even digital, you first have to make one though. Many musicians think you have to go to a professional recording studio in order to make a CD sound professional, which will end up costing you around $3,000 to $10,000, depending on where you go and how professional they engineer. But being new to the recording process, it may take you some time to get used to the recording in a studio, with click tracks and scratch tracks playing in your ears. So you will most likely end on the mid or high range of this cost estimate. By the time you're done, even if you do sell 1,000 copies, they are already costing you $3 to $10 each just in the recording cost alone, and likely around $3 to $4 in material or distribution cost. So now even if you sold them for $15 each, which is triple the price that most will pay for a CD by a local artist, you're most likely going to make around $1 for each CD. That begs the question though, is all of it worth it? Truth is, you can lower these costs dramatically by doing it in-house and building your own recording studio. Now hold on for a second though. If we create an album, or even a single track from home, it most likely won't sound as perfect as it would from a professional studio though, right? Okay, so the truth is, unless you can take the years to learn or already are a professional audio engineer that knows the recording process, it is true that your recording might not sound as perfect as if it were recorded in a multi-million-dollar studio with an engineer who's had 50 years of experience behind the board. But when it comes to the recording process, there are two things we have to consider. The first is the law of diminishing returns, which means you can spend about $700 to build a home recording studio, and if we give ourselves a few weeks of practice with the software, rather than just jumping in and thinking we can create a masterpiece, then we'll end up with a really solid recording that sounds refined. We could do that, or we can spend about $7,000, which is 10 times as much, creating the same album at a professional studio, and we'll end up with a slightly better track in the end. In order for the additional cost to be worth it for us, though, the professional record studio version would have to be 10 times better because it's costing us 10 times as much. In reality, the professional recording studio version will only sound at most 2 times better than the home recording studio version, but it's 10 times the cost. So truth is, the added expense isn't worth it for us. The second thing we have to consider is the record studios like Big Machine, Sony, Capitol, and plenty of others don't really care about professional recordings. As a matter of fact, they most times choose artists who didn't spend the extra cash as compared to someone who went with a professional recording studio for a demo CD, because they want to sign someone who will be responsible and isn't going to waste their time or their money. Truth is, they don't care about the quality of the recording you send them, because it's a demo version as far as they're concerned, and even if you did go to a professional recording studio to record your song or album for $3,000 to $10,000 of your personal money, these record companies are going to have to record every one of those songs again in their studio with their engineers. So why waste your money on something not even they will appreciate? This said, you want to sell records to your fans in the meantime, while you're waiting on these record companies to sign you. Because let's face it, that's never a sure thing. So you need a product whose quality is somewhere in between an 8-track tape recording and a professional recording studio version. So a home system which costs $700 is perfect for this need. To build your own studio in your basement or garage is much easier and cost-effective compared to what many people imagine. Before we go on and explain how to build this, let's first explain why this route is better at first. In the end of building this, you will be able to make multiple albums and make them whenever you like. For instance, I'm still recording this way, which means rather than paying more than $50,000 to professional studios, I only paid around $1,000 over the years to make my 7 albums, countless singles, and recording the audio for all 18 music videos thus far. I'm just now at a point where I'm going to professional studios for a handful of my songs. But that's because now there are producers paying for my studio time, and many times producers paying me to sing or perform. But on many songs, I still record the same way as I always did, in my basement recording studio. To get started, you're going to need some basic things, as listed below. 1. A computer, if you don't already have one. 2. Software. The most cost-effective, easy to use, and in my opinion, the best for the price range we're talking, is a program called Acoustica Mixcraft, which you can get for $90, and you can read more about it as well as purchase it using the link in the description below. 3. A microphone. Now you could go the cheap route here and spend about $50 on a microphone, which allows you to plug directly into your computer's USB port. But these sound horrible, and you will only be able to use it for that one purpose. I highly encourage you to spend about $100 to purchase an SM58 microphone by Shure. If you purchase this from somewhere like musiciansfriend.com, you will most likely find a package allowing you to get a boom mic stand, SM58, and an XLR cable, all for $110. 4. A mixer. Having a professional mixer connecting your mic to your computer makes all the difference to a recording. So here's where most of your cost is going to be incurred. A good mixer is going to cost you somewhere in the realm of $470 for a product like the Yamaha MG16XU, which is the one we use. Again, you could go the cheap route here and purchase a $200 mixer made for just computers, but then you will need a mixer for live sound anyway, which will cost you $400 to $500 at least. So why not spend $470 and get 2 birds with 1 stone? Once you get these before mentioned items, you will be able to start recording. Now there are plenty of videos on YouTube of how to start recording using this program, thus we're not going to spend time explaining how to record. Once your album or single track is recorded and you're happy with it, the next thing to do is sell it. In order to save your costs when you're just starting out, I recommend going somewhere like cdbaby.com, who offers plenty of options for musicians, all of which are very professional. If you want to sell your album just on your website and their website, you can upload your album for free and you just collect the profits. If you want to get on places like iTunes, Amazon, and a list of others, you can choose their global distribution option, which will cost you somewhere in the realm of $50 to $80 per album, or $15 per single, depending on how many places you want to sell on. Later, if you want physical copies of your CDs to sell, they also offer duplication, but again, I don't suggest selling this way until you have a big following, because you're risking lots of inventory investment. Stickers and add-ons. Many musicians like selling bumper stickers and other accessories, such as posters, and a great place to go to start selling is vistaprint.com, where you can design your stickers and other add-ons and sell them on your website. So now that we have some merchandise, how do we sell it? As mentioned above, you could just add a link to your website for your Cafe Press store, and then links to each of your other products. But what I prefer doing is having one spot where my customers can buy any of my merchandise. To do this, I went the free route and went to squareup.com to create an online store. I added all my products to my account, making sure to figure out the cost for me to purchase the product and shipping costs to have it shipped to my customer, even if they live on the other side of the planet. And then I added some profit for me. So I created my online store which looks professional and added it to my page using the HTML code SquareUp provided to me. If you need help doing this, there are plenty of videos on their YouTube channel, and their customer service is amazing. Every time someone orders, SquareUp takes their 2.75% fee, which I'll admit is a little high. But again, you're not taking the risk, and they are ensuring the customer has the money to cover the purchase. You could go other places which may offer only 1% fees, but there are minimums on how much sales you need to have, or you have to pay a monthly fee, which many musicians can't afford. So be sure to factor in their 2.75% fees into your pricing to ensure you are making a profit. Plus, you can also use Square to accept credit cards from your customers or venues who would rather pay using a major debit or credit card.